I have dug up some pretty crazy information for this video, and just a heads up, it's not going to be clickbait. I have some really interesting information from back in 2014 on a it seems like this paper was just like hidden or something online, and I've been doing some research on how much gold Russia really has, which we don't really know. Let's be honest. The thing about gold is there is no memory to gold. There is no ledger to gold. We don't know how much gold they mine or bought off their citizens and kept secretly. We have no idea. And that's the truth that a lot of people hide from. Is this is a lot different than the monetary system that we're currently used to when you think about gold. It is different. There is no memory. There is no ledger. There's nothing like that. So we don't know how much. We haven't even audited how much gold is in Fort Knox. And that's one of the points I want to get into in this video, is talking about the auditing of gold. And not only that, but it's the forcing of the auditing of gold, I think, is what is in the playbook for Russia and China. They want to make it so that the U.S. needs to prove how much gold they have. And I think they have a plan of action on this. And it sounds so crazy saying that, but really this all stemmed back, and I'm going to show you this research paper that I found, and I highly recommend the people that watch my channel. The only thing I have to sell you in my videos is my own auction house, mineralexchange.com. And a lot of you are already registered there. So if I'm going to put an ad out there in the video, that's the ad, mineralexchange.com. It's in the description. That's my company. That's my auction house. But this video is really just to inform people of what I think is coming soon and why I think it's particularly scary, but it's also bullish for gold. But I'm curious what you guys all think. We're doing this video live, so I really enjoy reading the comment sections. I got all the comments over here. I tend to rant, so I look at them a little bit later in the video. But I have some points I want to bring up in this video. But let's get right into the stuff that I have over here on my screen, because this one specific paper is quite crazy. Enough of me talking about it. I wanted to give a chance for everybody to hop in the room, but let me move over to this screen if I could figure this out. There we go. Okay, so I want to make sure that I'm not in the way here. So this is the rubles chart. This is right when they invaded Ukraine. It was right here. And it tanked it down, the ruble. And then around this level here is when they started saying, hey, we're going to buy gold. We're going to peg the ruble to gold, and we're going to set some sort of floor. Now, they were buying gold for much less than it was valued at the time, but they did put some sort of a floor underneath the price because they were worried about this volatility here, and it obviously worked. Obviously, there are people that are holding rubles, and rubles is showing strength. It's actually, I believe it's one of the, if not the best performing currency over the last year. It is doing, on a percentage basis, quite well. This is the 1 year on ruble with the daily candles. So they're 1 day candles over a year period with the ruble, and you can see that clearly the ruble is doing quite well, which you wouldn't think that. A country that is in the situation that they're in right now, with all of the G7, the powerful G7s of the world, right, all making them say, oh, we won't accept Russian gold, and we're going to do these sanctions on Russia, this, and that. I'm about to show you a paper that will prove that they knew about this ahead of time. And I believe that weaponizing the SWIFT network was a huge, huge error. And I think that was actually part of the plan. And this is just my personal opinion. So I'd love to hear yours in the comment sections. And all the comments are open for anybody to comment. I don't regulate those. So if you see somebody going crazy in the comment sections, I let it. I don't moderate the comments here. So that's the way we roll. But this is the paper that really is surprising to me, is this one specifically right here. And I highly recommend looking it up. The link is right here. It's not in the description below, but it's if you pause this video, I'm sure you can copy that. But this is actually like a government paper back from July 23rd of 2021. So this is just a year ago. Ironically, like exactly a year ago. Today's the 22nd, so literally a year ago. De-dollarization efforts in China and Russia. Now, this is, for more than a decade, China and Russia have sought to reduce their use of the U.S. dollar or de-dollarize their economies in an effort to shield their economies from the U.S. sanctions, reducing exposure to the effects of the U.S. economic and monetary policy, and asserting global economic leadership. While China and Russia have somewhat reduced their dollar use, both countries as do most, still rely heavily on the dollar. Now, recently, it actually changed from that year ago period. They actually don't use the dollar right now. They're specifically not accepting dollars right now. They're only accepting rubles right now. So it's gotten, even though they were limiting it in this, and there was a clear limitation and reduction of dollars on their balance sheet, which is why this is titled De-Dollarization Efforts in China and Russia. There's a specific part about this paper that I want to share with you, and I swear this video is not clickbait. It really isn't. I'm going to get into some juicy information, and if you look up this specific paper, it's 2 pages. 2 pages. Crazy research on these 2 pages that I am at least using my platform to get out there to more people. So while I could be advertising for mineralexchange.com, check out my auction. I'm actually showing you some real information here. So let me go. There's one part about this. We'll get back to some of this part. This is talking about the global role of the dollar, China's de-dollarization efforts. China has tried for some time to de-dollarize in trade and investment with some limited success. But all of this stems back to a very certain time. And so we go down Russia's de-dollarization efforts, and it goes right here. This is the part I wanted to highlight in this video. The Russian government accelerated its de-dollarization in 2014. Remember that year. 2014, when the United States imposed sanctions on Russia in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Now, how crazy is that? This paper from a year ago, this is prior to the invasion of Ukraine. This paper from literally exactly a year ago, from July 23rd, 2021, as you saw in the paper, literally brought this up. The Russian government accelerated its de-dollarization in 2014 when the United States imposed sanctions on Russia in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. This is talking about the invasion back in 2014. So what did this do? It flagged Russia and went, wait, they might weaponize the SWIFT system. They might kick us off of the dollar. They say they're the reserve currency of the world, but if we decide to make a decision to do something like what we do in Ukraine, they are going to weaponize the dollar. What do we do in response to this? Well, they were scared. They didn't go too much more forward like they did right now. But what they did over the time period to prepare, they took a step back and realized, wait a minute, this could actually really hurt us if they sanction us right now in 2014. And then they basically started to create their own system, which is right here, a system for transfer of financial messages. They call it the SPFS system, which is after the United States called for Russian banks to be disconnected from SWIFT. Russia expanded the use of the MIR system and the SFPS, which is basically their version of SWIFT. And it basically is their way of transacting outside of the dollar. And so this has been planned out since 2014, everyone. That's what I'm trying to get across in this video. This is a paper from a year ago that was our own paper from the crsreports.congress.gov. It is our own paper talking about this a year ago, but now it's actually happening and coming to the surface. So what did they do in 2014? We're going to get back to this paper because there's a lot of interesting stuff, because they've actually reduced the dollar to pretty much nothing in Russia. I believe it said they don't even have any dollars in Russia now. But at the time of this report, this was how much dollar holdings they had. They dramatically dropped their dollar holdings. But what did they do in it specifically when we didn't do it, we threatened to kick them off of SWIFT. They took a step back and went, what do we do in response to this? This is what they did. You go to Russian gold reserves. Isn't that something? Now, isn't that something? Let me move me out of the way here. But look at that. What year did they start accumulating some gold? In 2014, they literally, from that exact period of time, they tripled their gold holdings, roughly tripled their gold holdings. What does that tell you? Like, is that not clear as day? You have the de-dollarization efforts starting in 2014, basically them starting to prepare for this, and then at that exact time period, they started accumulating a bunch of gold. Then you go to gold production in Russia, and you see it shows that it's somewhat flatlining, but here's the thing. Would you tell, if you were trying to compete as a currency, if you were trying to make your own currency outside of the reserve currency currently, would you tell everybody how much gold you're mining? Would you tell everybody how much gold you hold? Would you release that information publicly? I highly doubt it. But they did release this. I guess this is from the Russian this is information from the Bank of Russia here, but this is back in 2020, so who knows how much different it is now in 2022. I don't believe there is any research or anything released from Bank of Russia recently, but they actually hold more gold than they do dollars in Russia. And this happened 2 years ago. 2 years ago, they were holding more gold than dollars. So how much more inverted has this chart become? Probably a lot more inverted. Then you go to China's gold reserves. Would you look at that? What happened from 2014? What is this? What happened there? Interesting. So is this report overlooked? I think it's wildly overlooked. It goes into specific detail on when these specific countries decided to start getting prepared for the weaponization of the SWIFT network. And they saw it all along. And so it's like, to me, do you think that they didn't see this coming? When they decided to invade, do you think that they didn't see the weaponization of SWIFT network if they already had prepared for it since 2014? And why specifically did the gold in Russia spike up almost 3x from 2014 until today? And the same thing and this is only what they're telling us. Keep in mind, there is no memory to this. It's a 5-ounce gold bar. There is no memory here. Nobody knows where this gold bar is currently. Well, you do because you see it on this camera, right? But when you think about gold, it's like, would it be a strategic move to tell your competitors, like, hey, we hold this much gold and we mine this much gold. We have exactly this much gold on our balance sheet. Like, what? Do people really buy this data? We haven't even audited Fort Knox. And so what I think is happening here is that Russia and China are realizing, like, hey, we need to have our own payment systems outside of the dollar because they could weaponize this system, and they are imposing severe sanctions on us that could damage our economies. So what are we going to do? Well, we are going to prepare ourselves for that, accumulate gold, not tell anybody how much we're accumulating. Maybe we'll let them know a little bit. I mean, this is quite a staggering accumulation from that specific time period where you're threatened sanctions. All of a sudden, you drop the dollar and you start accumulating gold. The evidence couldn't be more clear. So hopefully to you watching this video, I earned a like because this wasn't clickbait. This is real intel that I think is highly suppressed. So hopefully I earned a like from you because when you hit the like button, it helps this video reach out to more people. I don't know if they're going to help me out in the algorithm or not, but hitting the like button certainly helps. But yeah, it's something I just picked up on. And whenever I get some good information, I don't have too much time on my hands with what I'm doing with my company, with Mineral Exchange, but I do try to get some really good research in to find stuff like this that's happening. And I think that, is this a full-blown going back to a gold standard? I think that would take a lot of work, but what I think it is a way for, because as of right now, if you're the Saudis, for example, they just accepted yuan for their oil. And they're very close, it seems, the Saudis with Russia and China. And Russia, I hear that they are giving India big discounts on oil right now. So they're actually like trying to improve relationships with India and China specifically, and the Saudis. So those three, they're trying to improve relations right now. And the Saudis are accepting the Chinese yuan for oil right now. And so when you see that happening, I think that if you tell your trading partner, hey, we have a lot of gold. We have so much gold that we haven't even really told everybody how much gold we have, but we got a lot of gold. So if you don't believe in our currency, we're going to back it to gold in some way. And so that builds trust, which is basically what Bretton Woods was all about. That's what we were supposed to do as the U.S., but we just stole everything. I say we, I mean them, but it's surprising that most people don't see this, what's happening and what's coming before us. But I believe that it was seen ahead of time that the weaponization of SWIFT was going to happen. The report is very clear. It is very obvious what was happening there. They realized that the U.S. was going to impose sanctions. They didn't think that was going to happen in 2014. And both China and Russia at the exact same time started accumulating gold and making their own payment networks. It's as clear as day. It really is. And so that's a huge threat, because also we have Powell going out there, our Fed chair going out there and saying there's room for another reserve currency. What? There's room for another reserve currency? So basically, you're saying that we're not competitive anymore. And really, you're as strong as how much your economy produces. If you want inflation to go down, if you want your currency to do better, make more stuff. If you want the price of oil to go down, don't get on your knees for OPEC. Pump more oil. It's really that simple. And for some reason, the leadership that we have today doesn't understand it. It's unbelievable to me. And it's scary because the solution is so clear. And these other countries are preparing themselves. They are buying gold. They're not telling probably how much gold they have on their balance sheet. They're making their own. I mean, if there's literally reports saying about this, if you can go to this, hang on, when you go and you see the actual report that they are making their own network. So hang on here. The Chinese government is piloting domestic deployment with a focus on retail transactions as well as cross-border trade with Hong Kong, Thailand, and the United Arab Emirates. Relatedly, China is piloting the joint use of foreign exchange and RMB in companies' cash management and as cross-border financing for technology firms in designated zones. Ahead of the release of PBOC's digital currency, the government has shuttered. And by the way, China already has dropped a CBDC. It's already happened. And so all of this happening in real time. And then at the same time, you have another. And then China's effort to develop an alternative currency and financial network may not immediately challenge the global role of the dollar. So it goes from here to here. But then at this part, third, Russia has developed its payment processing capabilities to reduce its reliance on the existing dollar-centered payments infrastructure. Russia created a national electronics payment system, MIR, which means peace. Look at this. Like this is crazy. How is this not more public information? Why is this YouTuber telling you this information right now? Are they gonna turn off this live stream? Is this too much real information around here? I don't know. But look at this. So they literally have created a payment system that they call MIR, and it means peace and world in Russian. Do you need to be Da Vinci to figure this out? Like, is this not blatantly obvious? They have a payment system that they were preparing since 2014 that's literally means peace and world in Russian. Like, okay. And you're buying and accumulating a ton of gold since then. You've set a floor and a little bit of a peg underneath gold and said you'll buy it at a discounted price, but there's some sort of floor that you're willing to put under gold. And you're making people pay you in rubles for your oil. I mean, it's pretty wild. You don't make the decision. So if back in 2014 they were about to make that decision, and they basically, and this is what we were just talking about before, the U.S. was about to expand sanctions on them and kick them out of SWIFT in 2014. They went, whoa, let's take a step back. Then you prepare yourself for literally 8 years. For 8 years, you prepare yourself for what you're about to do, and then you make that move. You don't make that move if you don't feel like you're in a position of strength. You don't do that. So clearly, he feels powerful over there, and there's a reason for it. And so it's pretty wild that this is from just a year ago, and then this is all coming to the surface right now. And this all talks about how they've reduced their dollars. I believe they have no dollars on their balance sheet in the central bank of Russia. So they've absolutely de-dollarized. Same thing with China. They have de-dollarized their economies. And at the same time, they developed a payment network that means peace and world in Russian in 2015 after U.S.-based payment processing companies denied services to several Russian banks subject to U.S. sanctions. So basically the credit card companies, the Visas, all these different MasterCards, they said, we won't transact in Russia anymore due to these sanctions. And Russia said, fine, we'll have our own payment platforms. We'll have our own credit cards. We'll build our own companies around MIR. And I mean, that to me is pretty staggering. I hope that makes the video worth sharing or telling some people about it, or subscribing, hitting the subscribe button. I'm trying to grow the channel, or better yet, check out the website, mineralexchange.com, in the description, my auction house, if you want to support what I'm doing. But I feel like that is pretty wild there. And then you have at the same time, they have their own wire transfer system, which is basically their version of SWIFT, which is SPFS. Is what they call it. And this two pieces, it's only two pages of of information here. And I dug this. I don't know how I dug this up. I was just constantly, there wasn't good information. Whenever you search on Google now or something, it's like the good information isn't on the surface. You got to really dig hard for and use keywords to try to get to the actual intel instead of like all of these like random news outlets that aren't giving real information. Like this is a real document that is actually kind of hard to find. And I dug it up and I wanted to share it with you all because it's pretty wild, this whole situation here. So this is another thing too. Russia has, and keep in mind, this is a year ago. Russia has expanded the use of Mir and SFPS. So this is basically their credit card network. So this is their Visa, their MasterCard, that network. And then also SFPS is basically their wire transfer system, which is SWIFT to us with the dollars. So they basically have expanded that. Mir has been introduced in Armenia, Turkey, and I can't pronounce that. And 23 banks outside of Russia are connected to SFPS. 23 banks outside of Russia connected to SFPS, the Mir system named Peace and World in Russian. This is a report from a year ago, and this was happening, since 2014. So, and this is like if they weren't prepared to put this out there. Despite these initiatives, President Putin acknowledged that Russia would not be able to completely de-dollarize, although he has now. He holds pretty much no dollars in the country. I believe no dollars at this point, and doesn't allow. I believe there's something like they're accepting all currencies and allowing people to transact in all currencies except the euro and the dollar, I believe, over there, which is very interesting. Referring to the dollar as universal currency, Russia's central bank governor also affirmed that the bank would continue to hold dollar-denominated assets. They don't. They lied. They're not holding dollars anymore. So it says that back then, this is a year ago, but that has changed since. And the chart shows otherwise, that they were not holding dollars. They were reducing their dollars on their balance sheet. So it's very clear what was happening here. And then at the same time, increasing gold buying at the same time that they were increasing some mining of gold. But although like since 2014, maybe this data was true. But after 2014, would they be supplying? If you're trying to come out with a competitive payment network and you were basically getting sanctioned and all of that, are you really going to tell the whole information here? Are you going to say exactly how much gold you're mining in your country, how much gold you're holding? I highly doubt it. And then also China at the same time. Like that's a pretty dang sharp. You're imposing sanctions in 2014, threatening kicking people off the SWIFT system, and then China makes that kind of a gap up and buying. Like it's flatlined in their gold buying, and then they just went, nope, we're buying a ton of gold. Like, that's pretty crazy. And this is just what they say. Like, would you tell the whole truth? Would you tell all the whole information? I highly doubt it. They're communists. Like, they're not going to tell the whole truth of what's going on over there. Like, so that to me is crazy. It's a little scary sharing this information because it's like it's real. I think that this is a paper here that I think more people should read all the way through. Obviously, in this video, I don't want to just read this whole paper like I'm some sort of teacher or something, because I'm not, but I highly recommend to look this paper up and research into it. And it basically talks about the role of the US dollar as a global reserve currency. The dollar has served as the world's dominant reserve currency since World War II. The reserve currency is a currency held by central banks in significant quantities. Well, guess what? Russia and China aren't holding dollars anymore. So they're not holding dollars anymore and they're only transacting in their own currency. Well, are they using it as a reserve currency? No, they're trying to use their currency as their reserve currency, which is wild. This 2-page document here, it reveals some very serious things to be looking into and stuff that's troubling. And if the ruble really was, if people were scared of holding the ruble, obviously because of the fact that they hold a lot of gold, because they have a lot of assets, because they have a lot of oil, they have a bit of a stranglehold on the situation, and the ruble is obviously performing pretty well, surprisingly well. And with all of this competition going on, do you really buy that the dollar is going to remain this strong? Since 2000, this is literally the highest the dollar has been since 2003. So if we go back, the DXY hasn't been this high and shown this much strength all the way back from 2003. Keep in mind, in 2003, we didn't have $31 trillion in debt. There wasn't $31 trillion in debt back in 2003. We hadn't gone through the first big recession right here in 2009. Not the first, but the last recession was after that. So the last strength in the dollar was back in 2003. And then the competition in this reserve currency space, I think, is happening since 2014. You have China and Russia preparing to compete with the dollar in some sense, and still you see major strength in the dollar. Now, these are two major economic superpowers in the world. China and Russia are major economic superpowers, specifically China. And to see this kind of strength in the dollar, I don't know if I'm buying it. I don't know if I'm buying that the dollar is this strong when you have this much competition going on. It does scare me to see that. And I do think that when the dollar index falls, you'll see a dramatic pump in gold and silver. And I think right now is like opportunity zone. You know, if you buy into what Warren Buffett says, it seems like he's been pretty proven in his advice over the years. You buy when others are fearful and you sell when others are greedy. So if the dollar is being greedy and the dollar index is showing that it's showing all of this strength, and you really buy that the dollar is at its strongest level since 2003, well, then buy dollars and sit on dollars. You know, that huge inflation rate that they say is over, what is it at 9% now? 9.1 is what they're saying. It's probably well over 20% if you use the right basket of data. If you buy that, well, then hold dollars. You know, if you hold dollars, at least at a bare minimum, have a plan of action with those dollars. Be planning to build a business with it. Be planning to buy something with it when the opportunity arises. And I see these currencies as, a mechanism of air. Like, here, let me transfer you some air to pay for that thing. Here's some air for you. I want the thing. Now let me send you some air over there. Here's your hot potato. And it's really just a game of hot potato with these currencies right now. And it's just a matter of time before those who are holding the currency for too long get burned by that hot potato. So in the near term, I believe in having a good cash pile together right now. But it's not because I want to sit on it. It's because I have a plan of action with that air, so to speak, with that hot potato, so to speak. And I really, to me, if the DXY was down right now, and you saw the DXY like plummeting with all this stuff going on in the world right now, and the dollar, and gold and silver was down as well, that would be scary to me. But the fact that the DXY is showing this much strength at a time when gold and silver is down, that to me is opportunity. It really is opportunity. So, you buy when others are fearful. You sell when others are greedy. And so it's just a matter of time really about what's about to happen here. But it seems to me that the place to be is real assets right now, because what do you want? If you have a legitimate currency bubble, like 2009 was a housing bubble. This is 2022, 2023 is a currency bubble. The actual currency that we're using itself is inflated to oblivion. The Fed has no choice but to start QE back up again. They're probably going to start printing again. They might even go back down to negative rates. They might say, we're going to bump it up to 75 more basis points, and then they cause a recession. And when they cause a recession and you see the stock market plummeting, the circuit breaker goes off, all that stuff goes on with the stock market, then they'll probably retrace their footsteps. And they have they can do that at any given moment. People forget that what Powell says, aka Mr. Transitory. Remember when that was a word? This is going to be transitory. Inflation's transitory. Remember that? You don't say that word anymore. It's interesting. They don't say that at all anymore. How come that word? What happened to that transitory word, Mr. Powell? I don't even want to call you Fed Chair. I just want to call you Mr. Powell. Jerome, Mr. Jerome. What happened to that word? I guess you're not saying that too much anymore. But these are the same people that can just change their word, change their footstep. Nothing that they say is written in stone. If they say they're going to raise the rates, they will raise it as long as it's not causing a major recession. And if it does cause a major recession, if you do see the stock market plummet, they'll change their mind immediately and say, actually, we're going to start buying up more assets again. We're going to do QE to infinity again. Let's print another few trillion here, and let's just keep injecting money into this economy. It's our only chance. And as that continues to happen, do you think the dollar will continue to get stronger and stronger and stronger? Do you think our trading partners are going to see us as a viable reserve currency? I'm a proud American, but I also believe in fairness and being real with people. If I'm a trading partner and I'm looking at countries that hold a lot of gold and back that currency to gold versus a currency that their only choice to fix their economy is to do QE to infinity, who am I going to trade with? The thing is, at the end of the day, the person who wins in trade is the one who has the stuff. If someone has oil and they're pumping oil at a reasonable price and other countries want that oil, well, you're going to do anything you want. I'll tell you what, if there's one thing I know as an auctioneer, as running an auction company, which I will shamelessly plug my website in this video. But the one thing I know from my business is that if you have the item that people want, they will find you and they will pay you however you want to be paid. It's pretty annoying to deal with a wire transfer, but if I have an item that you really want, you'll give me a wire transfer if that's my only payment that I'm accepting. If I'm accepting only, and this is not, I don't accept Venmo, but say if I'm only accepting Venmo, and I have, and you really, this gold bar, you've been looking for this specific gold bar for 5 years. You've been looking for this specific bar for 10 years. And I say, I will only accept silver for this gold bar. I need you to pay me 1,000 ounces of silver for this gold bar is what I want for it. You're going to have to pay me in that. You're going to have to, if I say I want 500 ounces of silver, and you're going to find a way to get me my 500 ounces of silver for this gold bar because that's the only payment method that I said. And you really want it. I got it. What I say goes. And that's what I think Russia is doing right now. They're saying, hey, we got oil, we got, commodities, we got things that people want, and we're only going to accept ruble. You got gold, maybe we'll accept that. Everything but dollars and euros. Like, if that's not surprising, or that doesn't say exactly what's going on, I don't know what will. And so that's pretty much what I wanted to bring up in this video, and I wanted to share with you all just how crazy this really is, because I haven't looked at the comments in a sec. I will get to the comments. If I missed any super chats, I always get back to those. I always scroll through. So if I missed any of it, let me know. But this is something that I wanted to bring up and I wanted to share with more people. And here's another thing. If you start getting public about it in this world that is so, everybody, we got 200 people in here. We're all watching this right now in real time. You have the whole world interconnected. And what happens when you have a world leader call out someone else's bluff and reveal that they have way more gold than they said they did? You say that we have this much gold. Well, actually, you say we have this much gold. Actually, we're holding this much gold. And by the way, we'll prove it. You can come and audit it. Come down to the bank over here, audit our gold holdings. We have this much gold, and you haven't been playing chess. We have been. We are mining a lot more than you think. We hold a lot more than you think. And our currency is back to gold now, and we will only accept our currency for our products. We will no longer accept your currency. And if we do accept your currency, we need a reasonable audit of how much gold you have in Fort Knox. How much gold do you have? We want to know. You haven't audited it for 20 some odd years. We want to know how much gold you have. What happens when India says that to the U.S.? What happens when China says that to the U.S.? What happens when Russia says that to the U.S.? All in unison. How much gold do you have? We want to know exactly how much gold you have, because this is how much we have. Our money is back to this gold holdings that we have, and this is why people are trusting to do transactions with us. We want to compete with the SWIFT network. We won't weaponize our network. You have weaponized your payment network. We're scared to transact with you because we don't know how much gold you hold. Your currency is getting expanded to oblivion, and then at the same time, you kicked us off of your payment network, and we can't use your payment network, and you've threatened us with sanctions in the past, and then you actually did weaponize it on us. It was a threat in 2014, and then you actually went forward with that threat now in 2022. So obviously, this is a very clear message about what's going on, and the data is very clear here about what's going on, and I hope that it opens some eyeballs. But that's basically what I'm looking at right now, and I think that, could you imagine if they force an audit? If they continue to buy gold and they continue to increase gold holdings, and again, we have no idea how much gold each country owns. There is no ledger system. When they mine gold and they stash bricks in their safes, we have no idea how much gold they have. I want to be very clear about that. And that is a total it's chess. I'm a big fan of chess. I actually loved playing chess when I was a little kid. I'm a big fan of chess. And it really does seem to me like a global game of diabolical chess being happening right in front of us. And not enough people can see through the smoke and mirrors about what's going on here. And I see the reserve currency status. Maybe they won't take reserve currency status, but they can certainly damage the role of the dollar as a reserve currency. They can definitely take a piece of the pie away and say, look, we're no longer accepting dollars. We don't trust them. They've never audited their holdings. We don't know how much gold they have. We don't know what they're really producing over there. We don't know these things about it, so we're not going to keep it. So it's very clear what I think is happening. Let me go back. I see some of these comments, and I saw a super chat. I never miss the super chats. I go back to them, but I wanted to go over a few more things in the video here before we get to that. But I always scroll up to the super chats. I do not miss those. I don't overlook them. I promise you. I will go back. I appreciate that. I hear people bringing up the Uganda thing. I've seen that. The thing is, like, if you're in Uganda, you wanted to get people talking about you. You want to get people talking about your economy. You know what? If you got that much gold, prove it. Go dig it up and make yourself the next Dubai, Uganda. You're full of it. You're full of it. You think if you really say you have that much gold, go dig it up and become the next Dubai. Get rich. You're not very wealthy over there. Hate to break the news, like hate to let you know, but if you really got it, why don't you get to digging? I wouldn't even tell anybody about it. If I had that much gold holdings in Uganda, I wouldn't brag and boast about it. I'd dig it up and silently start liquidating it to different countries. That's what I would do. Like, isn't that the smart move? I wouldn't be like, hey guys, I found a bunch of this stuff. I don't want to get rich. Certainly don't want to get rich. It's all here. Like, there it is. It's right there. I don't want to be rich at all. Like, it's right there. Let's devalue it. You know, like, no, I would be digging that up and being like, let's get to work, everybody. Turns out we're filthy rich over here. Let's start digging. You know, like seriously, like, think about that. How foolish is that? Like, let's get real here. Like, does anybody do people lack critical thinking skills? Because, like, would be the move in that position. You don't really tell people, like, even in you don't want to tell, if you have a hoard of something, you don't want to tell people, hey, I have a hoard of it. You want to, I'd be digging that up and selling it off. So yeah, you don't tell everybody. That's what I'd be in that position of not telling anybody. I've heard that. It's surprising me how many times I've heard that. And I'm like thinking to myself, you have trillions of dollars in gold and you're not going to dig it up. Trillions worth. Yeah, you should be digging that up and silently liquidating it. But no, they're not doing that. Because they're full of it. But the main thing I really wanted to just go over lastly in this video, before I get to the comments over here, I wanted to go over basically. So this is the dollar index. This is the highest it's been since 2002, 2003. Is the last time the dollar index showed this much strength. It was 2002, 2003 period. But something interesting, I brought this up in prior videos, is when you go over the last recession, which I believe we're pretty much in recession right now. When you go to 2009, you go from this point here, and it's super clear information. So when this shows what happens when the dollar index plummets. The dollar index went from 90 in 2009. This is the start of the recession. In 2011, this is the recovery of the recession. But after the recession, there was obviously, crash in the dollar index. And the dollar index went from 90 down to 72. And this exact period of time is when you saw gold skyrocket in 2009. So this is the exact same period of time that you saw gold go from, the 700s range all the way up to, at its peak, to 1900 at the exact time in 2011. So when you saw the dollar index plummet like that, gold skyrocketed. I don't know why the chart changed on me, but 2009, from here to here, from 2009 to 2011 is the drop in the dollar index. And then that same time, you see that exact same time of period is when gold skyrocketed from its bottom of the high 600s, low 700s to 1900 an ounce is when the dollar index fell. Same thing with silver at that time period from 2009 when the dollar index plummeted. And then you saw the dollar index was strong here. The dollar index is super strong here. It drops down the price of silver. So this is when the dollar was strong. Dollar plummets, silver skyrockets. It's very clear data that what happens when the dollar index plummets. So seeing the gold and silver still at a it's crazy how low it is right now. But the truth is you want to look at the fact that the dollar index is artificially high. If that dollar index plummets, which realistically it's looking pretty lofty here, if it does go down, the price of metals will skyrocket just like it did in the past. That's what I'm looking at myself. So a lot of people get scared, and it's crazy to see how many people, get scared out of their gold and silver positions. And I'm seeing it happen right now before us, but the smart money seems to be getting a big stash of dollars for their hot potato money to throw at things like the fact that silver and gold is so cheap right now. And then they're going and throwing it at the right time. And so it's like having gold, silver, real assets, real estate, things like this that you actually can touch and feel and hold. And at the same time, building your businesses and having a cash pile to be able to throw at opportunities when the opportunity presents itself. I mean, that is what the situation is. You want to be using the dollar to do arbitrage type plays. So if you see silver way too cheap and you see the dollar showing way too much strength, well, then right now is the time to use those artificially strong dollars to buy a bunch of silver. Just on the website last week, we had a silver bar go for $2,000. So, I mean, that's only like a $1.50 over spot. A 2,000. I couldn't even imagine if you told me like a year ago that you could get a $2,000 100-ounce silver bar, I'd say you're crazy. But literally, I'm not even kidding. If you go to, so here's my auction site. Ironically enough, this gold bar that I'm sharing, I actually have that bar, the silver bar on my pillar right there is actually a really rare 100-ounce silver bar, or on my bookshelf thing. And then this gold bar is actually the one you see right there on the screen, is the one that I'm using in this video right now. But these are all live auctions on the website. I'm really proud of the new coding on it. When you make an account, this is just looking at it from a non-logged in account. But if you have an account logged in, you'll actually see a bid button right there. So you can bid right from that page if you have a verified account. But these are some of the items we're auctioning on the website. A lot of rare items that I deal in, but also some just regular bullion items. Like this bar right here on my table, this 100-ounce right here is actually is currently at, because I want to know what the real premiums are in this market. I do own a lot of rare stuff that people won't understand the premiums on it. Maybe they'll find it in their local shops and be able to sell it with me and make a lot of money on it. But if you look at, so this is a vintage 1984 Sunshine Mining bar. And if you look at this one is currently at 2025 right now. And that's there's a 10% buyer's fee, so it's really at 2,200. But really, that's ridiculously cheap for that bar right now. So I get to see what the real premiums are on my auction site. So if you want to register, go to mineralexchange.com if you want to check it out. But the cool thing is I actually have an auction history, so I can see what stuff is selling for. And this is that bar I was telling you. The auction ended at 2,000. So the funny thing is I don't see my competitors right now selling 100-ounce bars like that for $2,200. So it's kind of cool to see what stuff is going for in real time, what the premiums are in real time, in addition to the rarity. So this was more of a generic bullion bar here. And then also I had like a 50-ounce that went for a really good price last week. Let me see. This set was one that went pretty crazy. That's a pretty cool set though, back from 1969. Really cool gold bar that went off last week as well. But some really good deals like that. That's a Delta 100-ounce went for $22.50. You have this 50-ounce bar. This was a cool 50-ounce too. Sold for $11.25 last week. So again, some pretty cool stuff that I've been working on with the auction house. And so this will be my shameless plug here. If I'm doing any advertising in my YouTube, it won't be from a different company. I own 100% of Mineral Exchange. So if you support my videos, if you believe in the stuff that I'm talking about in my channel, and you want to support, and better yet, you might get a crazy good deal. But the other thing I've been doing, anybody who spends more than $1,000 on my auction site, I call you personally. So if you're doing the super chats and you want to chat with me, somebody, and this is actually, I don't know if you're watching, I don't want to say your name, but the person who won that 1,000-ounce or that 100-ounce last week on the website, basically we just had a conversation for like an hour. Super cool dude. I like his ideas too. Really cool dude. And I talked with him. I don't know if you're watching right now. I don't know if it's right to say your name or anything, but I called him, and basically he got a bar for a 100-ounce bar for $2,200, and we just had like an hour conversation talking about a lot of different stuff. So if you do business with me, I personally call you when it's over. I can't call everybody, but anybody who spends a decent amount on the website, I like to personally call you and just talk to you about investment stuff and just pretty much anything in general. So I offer that as part of the program. If you want to chat with me, win a 100-ounce bar. You know, there's some really good deals going on there. Now there's rare stuff like this gold set is super cool, by the way. Hang on. Like this is an old Capital Metals. If you're kind of from back in the day and you know what a Capital Metals holder is, this is an old gold Phoenix set. I believe it's from 1979. Back in the backside of it, they're literally weighed in grains in the back. So it's like I believe it's an ounce, a half ounce, a fourth, and an eighth. Gold set in the original holders from the 80s, this Capital Metals holder. Super cool gold set. It's almost 2 ounces of gold. And it's only at 2,500 right now, 2,550 right now. So pretty crazy, but super, super cool coin. 1979 gold Phoenixes. But I love how back in the day they measured it. They were so on point with the way they weighed their coins that they put 480 grains on the backside of their coins. So super cool little set right there. But if you want to do business with me, mineralexchange.com, register, make an account. If you want to bid, it only costs $1 and you can verify your account. The dollar isn't there to profit. It's just so that you verify your account. So if you have any questions about it, shoot us an email, give us a call, text us. All the information's on the website, mineralexchange.com. But there's not only is there cool stuff and rare stuff, there's stuff going for a really good price on the website right now. So a lot of stuff going on in real time. We got that sequential pair of gold 1 ounce Inglehards, a lot of rare stuff in as well, but a lot of just regular bullion as well on the auction site. And you get to see it in real time. You get a bid in real time and see what it's actually worth in real time. So that's my thing that I'm doing right now. That's my advertisement for the video, but that's my company. If people want to know what I do for a living, I know that some people ask that question a lot. What do you do for a living? What is your business about? I own an auction house. I own mineralexchange.com. This is my business. And I also help people a lot because it's free to consign. So if anybody wants to consign with me, if you see the cool part about my website, and I talked about this in the prior live streams, is when I was a treasure hunter, when I used to go pawn shop to pawn shop to pawn shop in this country, going literally state to state to state, trying to find these rare pieces, if I had this kind of data, I would have paid money for this. But it's free to see what the auction sold for. So people can literally go, wait a minute, my local coin shop has a 20-ounce silver bar, and they were only asking $5.50 for it. That's arbitrage. Send it my way, and I will make you some money. So go find some rare stuff. If you find one of these rare eagle's nest sets in some garage sale somewhere, don't be afraid to make some money. Send it down to Mineral Exchange and let's auction it off. It's free to consign. There's a 10% buyer's fee, but all auctions start at $0 with no reserve, so people can take that into consideration when you bid. And basically, that's the business model. I've talked about it a lot in the channel. Talk about it a lot on my Instagram as well. Rob Soltan on Instagram, at Rob Soltan on Instagram, if you want to see the stuff that I'm working on and see more of my personal collection and things like that. But yeah, that's pretty much, I just wish I had this data. I wish I was able to see this data when I was going around and searching for rare stuff. So now I'm going to inspire like a whole group of treasure hunters out there. I know all of my buddies that have coin shops are going to hate my guts because there's going to be people going in and finding all this stuff before they figure out how much it's worth. But all the data is there. So all of the auction history data is clear and it's there forever. And the other thing too is eBay, for some weird reason, eBay deletes the information after like a couple months, which is weird. Like all of the information will stay up there forever on my website. So there will be auction history on Mineral Exchange completely for free. All you have to do is register an account, verify your email and all of that. And you get to see all that information for free. You get to see what rare stuff sells for free, and you might make a lot of money. I mean, I started everything by flipping rare bars on Instagram and social media and stuff, and now I'm opening up my entire network I've built for literally 5-6 years of all of my friends that are buyers and collectors and clients. It's all opened up, and it's free to consign. So make some money out there, everybody. If you want to figure out how to make a quick buck, go digging through your pawn shops, go digging through garage sales, find the rare stuff. You now have all the tools at your disposal. So I want to help some people make some money. In addition to building my company and growing my auction site, it actually is like it's a peaceful feeling that I can be a services-based company rather than just a flipper all the time. I used to be just a constant flipper. Buy this, flip it for that. Buy this, flip it for that. But now I can just tell everybody what my business model is and let them know straight to their face and be like, this is exactly what I do. It costs nothing to consign. There's a 10% buyer's fee, which is cheaper than literally all the other auction houses. And that's it. I operate on 10%. Very straightforward. My only requirement is if you find, like say you find this rare 100-ounce bar in the wild, and I open up my entire website, all of my client list to you, and it only costs $0 to consign, the buyer requires, and this is because I think about myself, if I was using Mineral Exchange, if I was using my website, if I was on mineralexchange.com and I'm auctioning, I'm buying something as a buyer, I want no reserves. I really don't like the idea of reserves on a website. So if the buyer's picking up the 10%, I require all auctions to start at $0 with no reserve. That's my requirement. So I tell it to everybody that consigns. So all these bars that are consigned, I literally tell that to all of them. I stand up for my buyers and I say, and literally some people have told me, can I put a reserve? Can I start it at a certain price? No, all auctions start at $1 with no reserve, or start at $1, $0, same thing. But that's my requirement. That's how the website operates. I'm very straightforward about it. And I hope that some people make some money. We've already had some emails, like one of those, I don't want to give away the stuff that's coming up next week and whatnot just yet, but there's some, because of recent sales, people have went to their shops, and like I've been digging around and finding rare stuff and seeing what stuff recently sold for, and they're making money. Somebody that consigned something last week thought they were only going to sell something for a certain price and ended up making way more. Anyway, I don't want to get too much into detail on that, but check out the website, mineralexchange.com. That's my advertisement. That's my own business, and it's a services-based company now, which is kind of crazy to not be a flipper all the time and actually be helping people make some money and move out of their collections. And I've gotten, I can't tell you how many of my clients are asking me to give them a business card because they're like, my biggest fear was that the people I leave, because people buy gold and silver to be able to pass on their wealth to their next generation. And a lot of people are worried because they go, when I pass away, I do not want my son or my daughter or anyone to go, or my wife to go to a local pawn shop and get ripped off, and now I have a situation where I could actually auction it and see the real results. And I trust you to actually auction this. And so I'm helping people have something to put in the box. Like, yeah, we will be there for you when the time comes, put that card in there and we can help people out, and we can actually get real fair value for people's items rather than people just putting a quote on it. Because a lot of this stuff it goes for a lot more than spot price, but that's pretty much what I do. And now let's get to some of these comments in here. That's my rant. A lot of people ask me what I do for a living. So and by the way, I'm not paid by anybody. I don't have to put in my video. You'll see that people have to put paid advertisement or whatever in their YouTube video somewhere over there or whatever. Not a paid advertisement. I paid myself nothing. I own 100% of Mineral Exchange. So there's no partners, no equity to anybody. I own 100% of it. And that's the other thing too. Somebody just wrote that in a comment. You can't get any fakes buying from Mineral Exchange because everything is tested from us. So basically the problem with precious metals, and this is literally why I don't believe in, so you can have a gold standard. The ruble can back their currency to gold. But in order to actually transact in gold, I believe in getting the real thing. I believe in having the real bar of gold. And it's not that hard to have the real bar of gold. This is this is 5 ounces of gold right here in your hand. And this is right here is 2 ounces of gold. So in this video right now, I have 7 ounces of gold. All of this is on auction on mineralexchange.com, by the way. But sorry, sleazy salesman, but it's consigned stuff, The point that I'm getting at is there needed to be some sort of way to exchange for everybody, not just for that bullion house to sell you something, but for somebody else to be able to sell something for a fair price on auction. Rather than, every company is going to try to rip you off when you go to sell it. But now you can actually auction your stuff, see exactly what it's sold for, and get real money for it. And it might go for a lot higher than you expect. And that's what's happened quite a few times in my auctions. And you can see that from the auction histories. A lot of people don't know that they're sitting on a lot of rare bars. And I've been getting a lot of emails saying, hey, I had no idea that these were this rare. Can I send them in to get auctioned? And then the people auctioning it off and trading it for different things and whatnot. So there needed some sort of way to verify the transaction. So one person owns this. Another person wants to be the buyer of this, but this buyer here, but most people don't understand when they have this and they're trying to sell it online, the buyer here doesn't usually want to use eBay because you might rip them off. Not saying you will, but a lot of people don't have a real gold set that has been tested and verified that it's gold. So there needed to be a middle ground where it gets verified and then sent to the end user, because the end user doesn't trust just anybody to send it to them. So you need a reputable verification hub in the middle to go from here, from owner to auction site to buyer. And that's basically what Mineral Exchange is right there. It's been something I've had envisioned for a long time, to see the website, constantly growing and growing as much as it is. It's been growing quite a bit, and there's a lot of cool items coming in and a lot of stuff that people really want to find and really want in their collections that before now that just wasn't coming to the surface. And now it's starting to get out of a lot of top collectors' collections are starting to let go of really cool pieces because they might see something else that they want. And so now people are getting a chance at the cool stuff, the stuff that everybody hides at their shops, Usually at the shops, they show you all the generic stuff. They show you stuff that's brand new and modern and not really the cool stuff. And now the cool stuff is out there for people to bid on. So that's what Mineral Exchange is. Anyway, but that's what why I don't trust these custodians. I get this all the time where they put their money in some digital blockchain based company. Never trust a custodian. If you've learned anything from what happened with Bitcoin, what's happened with gold in the past, with the government stealing the gold in the past, do not give your gold to anyone. It is not hard to own gold. If you want to invest 10 grand in gold, this is what it looks like. Looks like that. It's pretty easy to hold 10 grand in gold. You can put this wherever you want. People are so worried about it, and it's like, own the real thing. Get it shipped to your doorstep. Verify it yourself if you'd like. You can get it from us, and then you have it actually verified from a source that you can trust that guarantees their product. But I mean, it's not hard to own the real thing. So why would you put your 10 grand in some digital blockchain-based company that you don't know will go bankrupt tomorrow? You don't know where their vault is. There's no way to audit the gold. There's no way to know anything about them. And people do that all the time. There's another company that wanted, they even had the audacity to message me and want me to sell their product. And I'm like, I'm going to not only deny your advertisement, I don't care about how much money you want to pay me, but I'm further going to crap on your product publicly as much as I possibly can and tell everybody to never trust a custodian. This company specifically said, we hold the gold and pay you an interest rate against the gold. And I'm thinking to myself, like, that's about the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. So watch out where you get your gold. Whether you do it with Mineral Exchange, whether you do it with another company out there, just make sure that you get the real thing. Don't let people say, hey, trust our custodial services and we'll pay you 5% a year on your gold. It's like, no, we have no, like, that is literally a textbook Ponzi. I'm not calling them specifically a Ponzi, but that is how they start. They say, we'll pay you a crazy percentage. This happened with Celsius and Bitcoin. They said, hey, we'll pay you 20% every year on your Bitcoin holdings. And then they just went bankrupt. Like, they just literally, I don't know if they specifically went bankrupt, but they plummeted in value and they stopped allowing people to withdraw their Bitcoin from their network. And they were offering 20%, I believe, or this was, this might have been Terra. I don't know the exact rate of Celsius, but both of them were like some crazy interest rate that they were paying to hold the Bitcoin. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, are people that foolish? Like, have we not learned lessons from the past of trusting custodians? Don't trust custodians. If you want us to auction your items, it takes, we own the item, we take it in, and it's insured under us from when we own it and then we have our hands on it. But for that 2-week period, I expect my clients to be very skeptical of me and being very, hey, you have custody of my stuff. I want my check in 2 weeks. You got a week to auction, a week to collect payment. I want my check in 2-3 weeks max. I want people to be on top of Mineral Exchange because that's how I would be. I don't want someone having custody of my stuff. And so if you ever have somebody with custody of your item, make sure it's for a very, very limited time. Do not ever let some vault company hold your stuff away from you for years and years and years and say they're giving you interest when they really could just run off with the gold and declare bankruptcy. Watch out for that. But anyway, let me go through some of these comments here. I saw some super chats. I'd never miss those. I really appreciate you doing that. John Wolf gave €5, says, what do you think about British sovereign gold coins? The government issued stuff seems to hold a premium because people are used to it. They trust it. I personally like the more vintage stuff like this right here, this Gold Phoenix set. I have an XRF machine, which is basically this fancy X-ray machine that tests the gold content of each individual coin. I actually took the plastic off and tested each individual coin, even though it still tested through the plastic. I wanted to double check. But to me, gold is gold, and I actually like the old school kind of cool stuff. So this like Gold Phoenix set I think is super cool, and like old bullion bars and actual bars of gold I think is way cooler than a sovereign. I think that those are kind of common. Like if you look like a gold maple, or you look at like a gold eagle, it's just very common, and it's just, to me, it's just gold, and it's more reputable gold because people recognize it. But I would rather just hold the brick. I'd rather have cool stuff and like have the actual chunk of gold than. And it's kind of cool to actually be able to hold it and stuff. People are kind of scared with their coins to scratch them and everything. I enjoy actually having like a brick of silver versus having, 100 ASEs. And actually, this brick isn't going to cost $40 an ounce like an ASE. ASEs right now are like, they're still above, I believe they're still like going for somewhere around 30 to 35 for American Silver Eagles right now. I'd much rather have a brick. I'd much rather have a 100-ounce brick myself. That's just me personally. But that's how I feel. I think you get a lot more bang for the buck, and you can get a lot more cool stuff that you can actually touch and feel and hold yourself. But that's how I feel about the government-issued coins. I'm not too into them, but they're recognized by a lot of people, and so they're going to be easy to barter with and trade with. But still, even if you have, I have seen, I will tell you right now, I have seen tungsten government-issued coins left and right. I've seen fake ASEs, American Silver Eagles. I've seen fake gold eagles. I've seen fake gold maples. I've seen fake gold sovereigns. I've seen fake of I've seen fake Philharmonics. I've seen all of the government issued coins. I've seen very well fakes with tungsten, plated tungsten. So that whole logic of, well, it's government issued, so it's better to barter with. It's like, is it though? because if who you're bartering with hasn't verified it and you haven't verified it, is it? Because I've seen very good fakes, and tungsten is the exact, literally the exact, and I've made videos about this, it is to the decimal point exact density as gold. So if you don't know the difference between, you wouldn't know. If you have a plated tungsten, if you don't have a way to test it, if you don't have the XRF machine, which a lot of them, they even use a thick amount of gold. So even it'll pass through the verifier, the regular, like handheld, the small Veriscan machine, it'll even pass that sometimes because they use a thick amount of gold on it. So if you don't have an XRF machine, which is like a $20,000 machine, and you're using that logic of I'm using a government issued coin so I can barter with it, more people recognize it, you still need to test it. You still need somebody to be that middle ground to test it. And that's where my company thrives, is that I'm at least a middle ground where people can know that anything that is shipped from us, the stuff that I'm dreading the day that somebody ships something in and I have to tell them it's fake. Like, that's why all the packages, I open all the packages up under camera. Everything like that is under camera and it's all insured when it's here. But I dread the day when somebody sends some fake ASEs or fake gold coins and I have to tell them, hey, these are fake, But I will never allow, if you get a package from Mineral Exchange, you know that it is not ever going to be a fake item because it's tested by a $20,000 machine. So if my $20,000 machine ever makes an error, I'll tell you what, Knighton, you're going to have a problem. That Thermos company that I bought, they're going to have a real issue. We're going to have some, there's going to be some fighting words going on, but they've been nothing but accurate ever since I bought that machine. But that's the reason why I'm so proud of what I'm doing, because it's somewhat of a verification to the exchange. That's why I call it Mineral Exchange, because you can trade in your mineral and exchange it to the end user. And there's a perfect way to transact in that sense. But anyway, that's my rant on government issued coins. I don't really think they're that worth it myself. Because look at like American Silver Eagles, for example. I think it's foolish to be buying those. Companies make a fortune selling those things because they can change the spreads on them and say, oh, there's premiums are through the roof. And then when you go to sell them, they're going to offer you like $2 over for them. And then they'll sell them for $10 over. Like the ASCs are, I would rather have a brick. I'd rather have a silver brick myself. Like that brick right there is a really, really, I could show you guys this one if I actually used gloves, but it'd be easier to show you pictures of it. Maybe I'll do both, but a little bit later. But that bar is going for like a little bit over 3,000, which is a high premium bar, but still I'd rather have that than the same premium on an ASE. I think that that's such a cool bar. It's like a piece of history and of bullion history. So like I'd rather have that than a ASE myself. But anyway, that's my personal opinion. Hopefully that answers your question, John. I really appreciate the super chat. Let me scroll up here. I want to make sure I didn't miss any more of these. There was John Wolf, and I think it might have just been you, John. Chris Warner, there was a second one. If I missed yours, just write a comment saying I missed yours or something. But I don't think I did. I think that was the only one. But yeah, if you give me a super chat, I always make sure to get back to you. So I don't ever let those go without being noticed. I appreciate that, John. And then also Bite Hunter just threw down a $9.99 super chat. Really appreciate it, Bite Hunter. Bite Hunter's been there since like the beginning of this channel. Really been supportive. So I appreciate you being here, Bite Hunter. Thank you. Vacation Time says, gasp, I feel attacked. Love my ASCs. About 25% of my stack are ASCs. I mean, they're going to hold their premium. There will be a buyer at that premium. They're going to be easy to barter with, but that's just my personal opinion. Opinions can be different for everybody. I could be totally wrong about it. But what I like to stack myself and what I have stacked myself is like I like the bars. It's a weird thing. Like I feel like I'm some sort of like banker or something. When I have a bunch of bricks of bars, this is like you'll see photos with me on my Instagram with like bricks of bars on my counters and whatnot. And I just like the feel of holding like an actual bar of it versus the coins. Because the coins you like feel like I'm holding something all shiny and I don't want to scratch it and I don't want to like get my fingerprint on it. But this is like, you can actually hold the brick. You can have the brick. That's just how I feel about it. But the main thing for me is that as a dealer, I've seen so many fakes, and I'm telling you, I've seen fakes that are so good. Like I've seen fakes of $20 gold coins in a PCGS plastic slab that was a slab that actually was registered where you can scan the slab and it'll pop up on PCGS. And it was a fake coin in the center of it that was a thick coated gold fake coin that passed the Veriscan machine, but didn't pass the $20,000 XRF machine that we have. So, I mean, I have seen stuff like that. So does it make a big difference for me when something is government issued? I mean, I'm still going to test it. I can tell you that much. If the whole logic, and this, I hear a lot of people saying this, like, oh, well, it's recognized, it's world recognized. I'm still going to test it. You can tell me it's as world recognized as possible. I'm still going to test it because I've seen very, very good fakes. Silver's harder to do. Gold, on the other hand, very easy to fake gold. Silver, I can, with just a trained eye, I can look at silver and know that it's fake, because it's going to be so thick. But gold, if they have tungsten, it's an exact match to gold. And so they can plate tungsten and literally have an exact match on the density level and everything. The weight, the density, everything will be an exact match. So if they do it well, it's pretty scary. That's my feeling on it. But yeah, don't ever let anybody. I see another, like Yam here might be another gold dealer or something. He says yes, XRF. I mean, any gold dealer is any like reputable gold dealer is gonna have an XRF machine. They're really expensive. They're super annoying to buy and like maintain, but there is no second best when it comes to that. You got to have an XRF or your stuff XRF tested. And that's something that I offer with Mineral Exchange. So every item that comes in, every item that leaves is XRF tested. It's not possible to ever get something fake from us. Again, very expensive machine. The Veriscan machine will work like, I don't want to say 90%. I want to say like 75% of the time. Like 75% of the time, it's pretty accurate. You got to make sure, like on something like this with the traditional, like it's like $1,000 machine, you'll need to take the coin actually out of the plastic and put it on the thing, and it'll be accurate most of the time. But still, I've seen them faked pretty well, or seen things past the Veriscan that were fake. So if I said that, that's just my personal opinion. Nobody sue me, bro. I'm sorry if I broke some hearts there, but to me, it's only the XRF machine that I like myself personally. We'll get to a few more comments here. I want to keep these live streams. Sometimes I get crazy in these live streams and I go to like 2.5 hours, but I want to keep them around an hour 30 minutes. So we'll end this one pretty soon. Just want to get to some comments. Material, make stuff then. Yeah, Poverty said, well, that's hardcore passing that. Like, I'm telling you, there are some people, like, they've gotten very, very good at their fakes. Not silver, because there isn't something to match the density of silver. So they will try, like, if you've held a lot of silver, like, I could literally flick a real silver bar, and I know that it's silver just by flicking it. That sounds crazy, but I've just seen so much silver that I can just see it I'm still testing it myself, but I know when something's silver or not. But gold it's pretty crazy how good the fakes are with gold. Because they plate it in real gold, and they'll plate it with thick plated gold. Some of them will use like they'll get like a Cuban chain, and they'll hope. This is a crazy one. So they'll use tungsten plated on this like heavy $10,000 gold chain, but the clasp, which a lot of dealers, they'll scratch just the clasp. They'll test just the clasp of the thing, and the clasp is pure gold. So it'll test like 18 karat or 24 karat on the clasp, and the rest of the piece is fake, but they're hoping that they take it to a certain dealer that is foolish enough to just scratch the clasp and not the entire piece, which is a foolish error, but some people make that error. And those are also, the old scratch test is a terrible method from people that don't want to spend the $20,000 for the XRF machine. So that's really what that is. But those fakes still get passed around a lot. I catch it every time because it's very obvious, but yeah, you got to be very, very careful. Don't just, if you're accepting, like, I've seen a lot of fakes on other websites. I guess now that I'm a competitor, I don't know if I'm allowed to like say that, or say bad things about other sites or something. I guess that's unprofessional, but certain places that are peer-to-peer places where somebody can sell something, a lot of fakes come from there. So you got to be careful where you buy your silver and gold from. And so I'm happy that I can help in some way in getting verified stuff to and from different places, and people that have collections have a place where they can sell some of their collection. And there's places that when they buy stuff that it's all verified through that hub. And that's what I'm building with Mineral Exchange. So if anybody wants to show me love on the website, if you're in the market for a 100-ounce bar and you see something that you like there, just know that I will personally call you. If you win an auction on mineralexchange.com of over $1,000, I will be the one personally calling you to talk about that and say thank you for your support. I'm sure some people can attest to it that won last week's. And that's just, I feel like that's what I can do as a business owner, is just personally thank people for supporting my small business. And that's what I've been building for this. I mean, if you've been a subscriber to my channel for the past 2 years, I started this channel literally just about 2 years ago. I had been talking since the very beginning, like, hey, I'm going to launch my website. I'm going to launch my website. It's going to happen. And everybody's like, it's your website's not active. You know, it's not, you're full of it. Is it actually going to happen? And then finally it's dropped, and finally it's active, and there's a lot of stuff getting put up every week. So it's pretty exciting to see it all happen. It's something I've been working on for a very long time. So I really, really appreciate the support, all the people that have shown the website some love. If anybody has any questions about it, feel free to shoot me an email, text the number on there, and I get back to that really quick. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been working on for a very long time. The biggest question I get is how to bid. And you can register for free, which only requires your email and your phone number, and you can make an account for free, which gives you full access to all of this, which is pretty crazy. To get access to like all of the data on rare bar history and what stuff is selling for in real time. Every Sunday, there's new auctions ending. Every Sunday is going to be at least 25 items a week. I know this week I have 25 items up. So this is the 25 items of the week here. And so it's pretty cool how it's laid out. And by the way, this I coded into the platform that you can actually bid from this page. When you're actually logged in and verified to bid, you'll see right here, you'll see a bid button. So you can bid right from the collection page, and competitors don't have that. That is a super cool thing that I fixed on the website, and I'm really proud of it, that people can bid right from the collection page and be able to scroll through products in real time like that. I have that perfectionist type. I like simplicity, and I like things to be perfect. So that's how it is on the website. But it's pretty cool to have a place where people can actually see the history of items and see stuff going in real time. Every single week, there's going to be a minimum of 25 items up, which is 5 rows of 5 here, and be able to check it out in real time. And so the biggest question I get is when you go to this page. So if you're signed in, you'll see a join button right there, or the bid button. If you have logged, this isn't logged in. It's just a regular, just looking at the website. But if you go to the sort page here, you're able to actually go by when things are ending, price high to low, all of that. You can sort through everything a lot easier there, and you can search all the active auctions there as well. So this is the sort page where it's only 2 rows across, but if you want the quick bid page, that's the other one. But if you see here, you can go to view auction, and then if you go to verify account, you click that, and you pay $1. And if you verify your account, you'll never have to verify again. And I know a lot of people use eBay, and like there's this thing going on eBay for some reason where, like, if you really like an item, you've been waiting until the last minute and you go to bid, they're trying to crack down on sniping. And so because of that, what they're doing is making you verify your account at the last minute. And I can't tell you how many monitors have probably been broken by this terrible decision by their dev team. But their dev team decided to do this, which I will never do this, is I change the dynamic and verify my accounts ahead of time. I verify the bidders ahead of time by having them pay that $1. I can connect that name to the person that paid the $1, and I can verify that they're a real, authentic person. And that's how I verify my users, and they never have to verify again. So the $1 isn't there to make a profit. It's just to verify the user base. So it was a very annoying decision that I had to make. But I don't want just anybody being able to bid. So the verification of the community and making a very strong community it's a very big deal to me. And so that's why I did that. It's not to make a profit. There's really to make a profit on that would be kind of foolish, and it's really not for that. We're doing giveaways and stuff to give way back more to the people that are active bidders. But anyway, that's what that's all about. It's just $1 fee to verify your account, and then you never have to verify it again, and you can bid seamlessly across all the auctions. You'll never get a last minute verify your account like eBay does. I can't believe that they do that, by the way. I literally missed out on the coolest item that I really wanted on there because they had me click the little, like everyone tries to snipe, and I was trying to snipe in this situation. So it is what it is. I was trying to be a sniper, and I went to bid at the last minute and said, verify your account. And I'm like, just missed the item. Like I can't call in and spend 20 minutes on the phone and verify, but that's what they do. And I don't do that. So that's the reason for that. But anyway. Tim Dobbins says, looking for treasures, Rob. I appreciate you, Tim. Thank you for all the support. I'm really excited about the way things are turning out with the website, and just like tons of cool stuff is getting up. I mean, next week I can give you guys a sneak. I'll give everybody in this live stream, since we got some people in this live stream, I'll give you guys a little hint on one of the items that's coming up next week. Is a super low serial 10-ounce Engelhard W. If you're into vintage stuff, super like very low serial number one of those, which is something that's highly collectible in the vintage world. So I got some really cool stuff coming on the website if you collect the rare stuff. I mean, this week there's a lot of crazy rare stuff on the block, actually. If you want to see the stuff that's on the website, go to the website, go to mineralexchange.com, or go to my Instagram at Soltan on Instagram. Follow me there. If you're not following me there, I give heads up of every time I go live on the Instagram, and I post a lot of cool stuff there. In addition, I was going to show off some of this stuff. Maybe I could show you guys that 100-ounce bar. This is like a super cool Consolidated Mines 100-ounce bar here. Super rare. If you know vintage bars, like this might actually make people appreciate rare bullion bars. But let me show you guys. I have one of these. This bar is actually so cool that I have to wear a jeweler glove to pick it up because it's like a polished finish. Stuff was made better back in the day. Vintage stuff, they just took more care in their products. Like Sunshine Mining stuff is not that cool anymore. And this is from the 80s, that bar. But this one, I put it up here for a reason because it's just such a cool bar. But check this thing out. This is the finish on this thing is just wild. You can tell, like, there's just not bars that are crafted like this anymore. But if you collect vintage, you see a perfect hallmark on a Consolidated Mine and Metals bar like that is just crazy. This is just such a cool 100-ounce bar. It's kind of hard to hold, but it's one of those bars that makes you appreciate, like, oh, I can see why people collect those. That's a cool hallmark, and you can tell they spent a lot of time crafting. I'm not even by the mic. I'm talking over there, and I just realized I'm not by the mic. I'm just saying, like, this is one of those bars that people can appreciate the vintage collecting world. Like, they can see this and go, okay, I see the quality in that. I see the stamp on that. I see why people collect that. But this is something like, instead of buying 100 ASEs, this is something that I would buy personally because it just has history behind it. It's just a super cool bar. Things like that is what I'm interested in myself. That bar's on the block this week. So if you want to see, and you don't even need to be a bidder. If you just want to see what stuff sells for, make an account and go check out the auction history. It's a lot of really good data there where people can actually make some money and go looking for this stuff. That's where I started out. I started out looking, but back in the day, there wasn't a mineralexchange.com. There was only, go to social media and try to sell it there, and nobody trusted you in the beginning. So building a reputation and having that reputation that you're selling legitimate stuff is so hard to do. And that's what I had to do. I had to start from the ground up and get a reputation. But the biggest thing for me is, like, the quality of fakes out there is crazy. There's really good quality fakes, and you got to make sure you're testing your stuff. So if you're out there, just make sure you're buying stuff that's tested. Make sure you're buying from a reputable dealer, and you make sure that you don't just go and, if you see a good deal on Craigslist, make sure you test it. Maybe meet them up at a local coin shop that you trust or something like that. It's kind of hard to do that because then the coin shop might want to buy it for a good price or whatever, but make sure you bring it to some place to verify it. If it's not me, you're not using Mineral Exchange, if you're using somebody else, make sure you get it tested. Don't just trust that, like, just anybody, because I can tell you first, you know what? I need to be making, I should buy some of these. I should go to Alibaba or something and buy a bunch of fake coins and show people just how well done these fakes are. Like, I should search, like, the fake stuff. That would actually make a really good video. I should write that down, actually. Let me see here. Sometimes I have that in mind where if I don't write it down, I'll forget it. So there's always a pad in front of me or something. But let me see here. I'm going to write that down. Buy fake. I just want to show people, like, how good these coins are in the future. So that's actually a good video idea. In the future, I'll kind of show how the testing machine works and how that all happens, and show some fake stuff and how the machine catches it. Maybe I can, God, in the past there were such good fakes. I should have kept those. I don't know why I didn't keep those. Anyway, I think that would be a really good video. If WSS was into platinum instead, the platinum market would be broken already. Mike, I'm kind of with you on that one. Who's they? Jeez, the thing is, if like I don't ban anybody in my comments, and some comments get kind of crazy in there. I don't know. Some people write some crazy stuff in these comments, but yeah, it really is that you can see the quality on like the old school stuff is just on a different level. I'm getting 100 ounce in 2 weeks. I wonder what my dealer would do to me from the vault as a buyback. I think they know me and like me, so I might be able to get something nice. You know what I want to see in the future? I want to see some people like show if you have a rare bar, if you have an older bar, send me an email and I'll tell you if it's worth something, if it's worth auctioning. Some bars are just not worth it, and some bars really are. And I'm curious what happens. Like if you have, like, for example, if you have that bar currently on auction right now is going for, and by the way, if you're watching this video at a later time, this is live and we are doing the comment stuff right now. So usually my videos, I'm not doing this much, shilling of my website and advertising and stuff. Kind of makes me a little bit uncomfortable because I'm not the advertiser person, but I own this website. It's my company. So it's not really like, it's not a paid endorsement or something like that. But if you don't want to watch this kind of stuff, this is just the comment section and like us hanging out in the end of the live stream. So, I post all of my live streams. So if you're watching this video just to watch the video, the real information, this is all real information too, but the information that's relevant to the title and all of that is in the beginning of the video for about the first 30 minutes to 45 minutes. But I like to do my videos in that way so we get the real information, or not the real, but the information that the video is supposed to be about is in the beginning. And at the end of the live streams on Fridays, I like to just chat with everybody. But let me go. So that bar right now, imagine if you have that bar in your collection, like say it was passed down by your grandfather or something like that, and if you take that bar to your local shop, whether it's a pawn shop or a coin shop, I highly doubt that they're going to offer you this for it. And keep in mind, this is what the consignor is getting paid out. So the consignor is getting paid out right now in that bar $3,125. So that's a bar that you might have in your collection and you might not have known is super rare. And this is what a lot of dealers are making a lot of profit on, is like these 1 ounce bars. If you bring these into a shop, are they going to offer you $125 for it? Are they going to offer you $85 for it? On this 5 ounce silver bar, this 5 ounce, I think it's pronounced Bosch or Beige, is up to $300 right now for a 5 ounce bar right there. So it's like, are they going to offer you upwards of $50 an ounce? I don't think so. So you got to like figure out what the rare market is and look in your stack if you have rare stuff. And so what my website is a place where people can buy and sell. And it even is going to get people a lot more money as the premiums detach more and more. I think that the website is really the way to go for all bullion, really. I don't know if I'm going to be running like ASE auctions in the future, but maybe a little bit down the line. I like to focus more on the rare stuff right now, but at least this resource is there for people that don't know if their bar is rare or not. But specifically, like something like that, a lot of people don't know. But I'm also mixing in like some more regular bullion items and stuff. So all of it this week is relatively rare stuff. Last week I had a couple regular bullion items, but every week I like to sprinkle in a little bit of everything. So it's going to be pretty fun. And this is just, I believe this is week four of auctions on the website. So it's going to be fun seeing how it rolls out. But yeah, it's information that a lot of people didn't even know about. But a lot of people are sending me like messages and they didn't know they had something rare. So a lot of cool stuff getting consigned and a lot of stuff that people just didn't understand or didn't know was rare in their stack. So helpful resource for people. If you don't even want to bid, at least it's a helpful resource for you if you want to use Mineral Exchange just to look at the auction histories. Let's see here. Mike says, Rob, do you think the internet will make the gold silver bull market short like the Bitcoin runs, or do you think it's more fundamental and will last 10 to 18 years that a commodity cycle X runs EX? I'm not sure I understand the question, but I think you're trying to say, like, is it going to get super volatile? Is precious metals going to just skyrocket? And I would say that it's going to be very similar from 2009 to 2011, but probably that on steroids. I think that it's very possible to see silver like skyrocket to 100 plus an ounce. I think that's very possible. Now, is silver going to do something where it goes to thousands of dollars an ounce? I mean, that would take a completely rewritten monetary system. Like it would take one of these currency gold. I could see gold like having a crazy spike over 5,000 or something like that. If more and more currencies or more countries required the backing of gold. And that's what I think they're trying to do. I don't think everybody is going to, this is probably a good place to stop the video too, is I don't think that like Russia and China, everybody's just going to overnight accept them as a reserve currency. But I do think they're going to force auditing of the other currencies. I think they're going to start wanting to compete and say, look, if you are skeptical of our currency, if you're skeptical of the ruble, if you're skeptical of the yuan, we're back to this much gold. You can come and audit our gold holdings. We have this much gold here. We want to know how much gold you have. And we want to know if this gold is if your currency is being backed by this gold. So they're going to at least, and this is what I think is their plan. I think their plan is just to shed they're trying to put a light on the fact that we haven't audited our gold holdings and our money's back to nothing. You know, and really the money was back to military brute force. And now, I mean, superpowers have gotten to a point where we can't go to war. Like a superpower can't go to war with another superpower or it's the end of the world, literally. So like at this point, that whole argument of we have the craziest military, we have all of that. Well, no, now all of these countries have weapons where you can't go to war with each other in the bloody fashion. Like it would end the world. So that means that the competition is going to get fierce in the currency space. And so I think that they're trying to do is just put a magnifier glass on the fact that fiat currency people are taking advantage of it. You know, people are taking advantage of this system. And that's what I think it really comes down to. Legbad, when is Mineral X open to Australia? I'm working on it. We did our first few shipments to Canada, and I'm planning to roll out Australia in the next couple weeks here. We're just seeing how the international thing goes, and so I'm working on it. But we will be. It's first. First, we're going to Canada, and then we're going to Australia, and then we're going to pretty much stop there because the UK. By the way, here's a funny thing. This is a really funny thing. The UK, the UK money was called the pound sterling, right? It's called the pound sterling. So their money is supposed to be back to a pound sterling. It was meant to be back to silver, sterling silver. But they charge a 20% VAT tax on silver. Like, what? You call your currency the pound sterling and you charge a 20% VAT tax on what your currency goes by? Like, is what the term of your currency goes by? You charge a 20% VAT tax? For that reason alone, I'm not selling to the UK. I'm not doing it. Somebody was really bummed about it because they couldn't get in on the Swiss bank bars last week. I'm sorry. I just can't. My brain can't compute that you call your currency the pound sterling, but you charge a 20% tax on silver. Like, that is the most crazy. I blame the Queen. I blame the Queen. That is literally the most crazy thing I've ever heard in my life. But that's a real thing. I couldn't believe that. I had to look into it again. Absolutely not, Robert. Everything that you see it's going to be somebody's. No, the thing is, like, my thing that I'm trying to do is remove the dealer from the equation. I want to just say that this is my cut. This is what I'm making, and I'm removing the dealer from the equation. So basically, I want people to get the top dollar for their item. What I see happening is I see dealers basically buying something and then looking for the end buyer to sell something. I would rather connect the buyer or the seller to the end buyer and just make my percentage on the in between there and then send it off and be the verification hub. That's what my business model is. So I'm no longer going to be on like a wholesale basis on things where like somebody's buying, over $10,000 worth of silver and gold, and I've developed a relationship with that client. I'm happy to help out because my overhead is really low and I can get people wholesale deals really cheap. But I'll probably need to have developed a relationship with somebody prior to getting them into a wholesale type transaction with Mineral Exchange. But that would be an app would be really cool to have. I'm looking into that right now. Actually, if you use the iPhone, the website is designed to be really, really user friendly on the iPhone right now, just on the regular interface. So I believe that it's better to like open up your iPhone and go to the internet. Like go to your app for the internet and just Google or put in your browser mineralx.com and just go straight to it. If you click the link in the description, it might pop up a different window. But on if I've noticed from Instagram and like Facebook and stuff, if you click the links, it makes it so you have to like it won't remember your password and your username. So it's kind of annoying that you have to put it in every single time if you use one of the links. But if you go directly from your browser, whether it's on your computer or on your iPhone, it'll remember, I believe it'll remember you. So you can just go right into it and not have to verify every single time. So there's that. But also, what was I going to say? The website, I think, is very user-friendly on the iPhone, especially from that quick bid page where you can see 2 items in a row side by side. It's really, really, I've made sure that the website is user-friendly on the iPhone. I don't have an app yet, but eventually in the future, I think that's a really, really good idea. Not on Royal Mint Silver, I don't think. Now that is, to me, even if that's true, I find that to be kind of disingenuous. Like if you have to buy the Royal Bank Silver, or else there's a 20% VAT tax on it. Like, but we call our currency the pound sterling. Like, it's kind of crazy. It's like, imagine you called your currency like gold AU, but at the same time you charge a 20% VAT tax on gold or something. Like, that's just, to me, it's just crazy to do that to your citizens. I mean, that's like more, I believe they charge more of a VAT tax on silver than they do on their own like produce and stuff from a grocery store, which is wild. Yeah, it's really pretty ironic. It's pretty ironic. Living the Dream says 10% with a question mark, probably trying to insinuate that that's a lot or something like that. But actually, that's people are making a lot more money, because the thing is, it's everything starts at $1. So if you want to bid 3,000 and you know ahead of time that you want that the 10% is there, you can bid 2,700 and you'll basically be under the price where you want to be at. So you can know ahead of time. If auctions started at 3,000 and then the 10% was on there, that'd be disingenuous. But the fact is, the auction started at $1 with no reserve. Nobody else is doing that in the game. But that's basically how it works out. So if you, wherever you want to bid, the power is in the bidder's hands. There's no reserve and it starts at $1. So power is in their hands and they can put it where they want. I threw iPhone in the trash. Rip off. Prefer Android myself. You know, a lot of people do prefer Android. I like the simplicity factor of the iPhone, but it does start to scare me, like how much data is given out in the internet. But it seems to be something like I can't let go of. It's just the power of having a supercomputer in your pocket is crazy in this day and age. Like what you can do on social media, what you can do with your own website, what you can do with just everything that you have, and like the fact that you have a supercomputer in your pocket. I just made this video talking about why I dropped out of college. If you want to watch that, maybe after this live stream, we're probably going to end this live stream pretty soon here. But I was just talking about how it's crazy to have a supercomputer in your pocket. Like, it really is. Like, this device should be $1 million for what it can do. I see a few people registered an account and verified their account to bid. I appreciate you. I'm not going to say your names, obviously, but I appreciate you verifying an account. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff going on the website in the near future, so I'm pretty excited about it. JT says, it hasn't been the pound sterling for decades now. Yeah, you kind of missed that's part of the joke. That's the irony there. But anyway, that's the video, everybody. Tend to rant a little bit at the end of these live streams, so if you've watched all the way through and you're like, is this how it's always going to be? He's just going to rant? Yes, it'll always be like that in my live streams. At the end, we go through the comments, we chat with each other. We have a good time in these live streams. If you make it, we like to hang out in here. But at the beginning of the video, I don't like to do, in the very beginning, I don't like to do ads, and I don't like to do like the more of like going through comments and stuff. I like to get out the information. I hope that you found some value in this video. I mean, these reports, apart from me, shilling my company, because I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of launching my auction house. It's been like a 3-year journey building that thing. So to see it, I'm obviously pretty over the top on how much I'm showing my website, but really appreciate all the support and people going to it. But I really hope that there was some valuable information in here. That specifically that paper from a year ago that is talking about how China and Russia have been preparing themselves for this event to happen is just wild to me. Like that's not out to the masses. So hopefully this video does get out to some people out there. I know it did to the almost 200 people in here. I hope it was helpful, but that's basically what I wanted to talk about in this video. And yeah, hopefully it gets out there to some people. Please share it with some friends. Let people know, like, hey, that's some crazy information. Did you know that they have a payment network called MIR, called MIR, which basically means world and peace in Russian? Like, seems like they're trying to be a reserve currency if you named a payment network World Peace in Russian. Like, doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what's going on here. And then at the same time, a very obvious accumulation of gold in Russia and China since 2014, since they were first threatened with sanctions and getting kicked off SWIFT. They prepared for it. And they came out with their own payment networks and their own systems. And now they're buying a bunch of gold. And so it's like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what's going on right now. And they have commodities. They have their economies producing stuff. So it's definitely very interesting. But yeah, that's basically all the stuff I want to talk about in this video. Some old guy saying and I didn't say that's his tag on here. I'm not going to say that's not what I your name tag is funny. So one of the name tags in here says that intro with the diamond is nice. I appreciate that. I spent a lot of time on the animation and stuff for Mineral Exchange. Thank you. Had a great time with you all. Appreciate you all being in here. I will see you all at the next video. I'm trying to make sure, I think I'm 3 Fridays in a row I've done these live streams. So every Friday I try to go live, Friday nights. Obviously, you know, most people would want to go to a bar or do something, but I like to be here talking with you about gold and silver, talking to you about the craziness happening around the world right now. It's just, maybe I'm just weird like that, but I enjoy spending time with you guys instead. So thank you for coming to my Friday night lives. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. If you've been on the fence about hitting that like button, if this entire time you've been thinking about hitting the like and you don't know if you're going to do it or not, would really appreciate it if you did, so this video gets out there to more people. Really appreciate your time and being part of all of these live streams. See you next Friday. I plan to make this a consistent thing. I think, yeah, we're 3 Fridays in a row, maybe 4 Fridays in a row. But yeah, every Friday I plan to go live, probably make a better schedule about it instead of just saying on my Instagram, like, hey, going live in a couple minutes, you know. I tend to be last minute about a lot of stuff, but we'll probably get to more of a schedule, maybe like 7 p.m. or something every Friday or something like that in the future. But every Friday I want to do at least one live stream, and I want to start doing more videos on the channel as well, so I can do some, you know, shorter clips, some 20-minute, 30-minute clips in the channel. I did that video talking about how I think pretty much the entire college system is a scam, and I shared some information on that and what I would do if I was going to college. I just drop out immediately. I tend to be, you know, somebody that has a pretty crazy stance on that, I guess, but that's how I feel about it. But that was the last video that we dropped. Thank you, everybody, for being part of these live streams. I will see you at the next one. Signing out.